Good evening. Allow me first to apologize for the inconvenience. I do, like many of you, appreciate the comforts of everyday routine, the security of the familiar, and the tranquility of repetition. In this introduction, V, from the movie V for Vendetta, addresses the London population at the time. He is addressing a very complacent, very lazy, very laid-back population that has kind of lost sight of the freedoms that they once held. I, as a US citizen, similarly to V, worry about the population as a whole. Are we becoming too complacent? Are we becoming a little too relaxed with our government? Now, we are all affected by the government and our leaders, the ones that we put into power. They affect everything from major life effects, major life decisions ranging from taxes, social security, what wars we are involved in, to small menial things like how much they charge for a speeding ticket. In varying degrees, all of us, everyone living in this nation, is very affected by those leaders that we put into power. And I, as a US citizen, talking with others as well, have noticed a similar trend as the citizens in this movie that V addresses himself to. We, V in the movie says, are the ones in charge of taking control of our lives, making sure that our rights, that our beliefs are held up, and that they are taken care of by our government. A great way that V mentioned this in a quote from the movie is right here, that nobody can give you freedom. Nobody can give you equality or justice. If you are a man, you take it. Now, V was a very large activist. He was a bit of a radical in his society at the time. And it is my belief as well that we need to stand for what we believe in. As I mentioned, V was very much a radical, and when he was addressing the people, he was trying to stir emotion in them, trying to get them to act, get them to unify, bring them together to accomplish something great. Now, in history, some examples in our own nation would be promises given and some kept, some not, that V would maybe get frustrated with. Well, ones that I think are great examples of when people, of our presidents, did accomplish is John F. Kennedy. When he was elected president, he ran on this, well, one of the things that he ran on was that we will send a man to the moon. And that we did do in his presidency. Not only did we get to a man to the moon, but we accomplished so much more. He promised something, and we as a nation came together and we accomplished something that was unfathomable, even impossible, no more than 10, 20 years earlier. Really, I think it's a great example of what happens when the government is being supported and loved by the people, because the government is supporting the people. A poor example of a promise being kept, or rather a promise being broken, was during Ronald Reagan's presidency. He ran on a promise that he would allow a bill to pass to have prayers in public schools be allowed, and as we can obviously now, it's not really a thing. He tried to go for it, but it was never fully fulfilled. He was never apparently very true to that promise. And so I would like to address the complacency that we maybe fall into in those promises given to us, and if we sometimes just become a little lax with what is done. Now, in our world, we have so many different people. In our nation, we have so many different people. And all of these different peoples have come together to accomplish great things throughout our history. As far back as 30, 40 years ago, for voting rights, for women, for blacks, for the equality of both of those teams, and more recently, the equality in the eyes of the LGBTQ community, and the great things that they have been able to accomplish, being unified, calling out with one voice. Just as V does, I want to be able to bring us all together again, to be able to call with one voice, and to be able to be united, to be able to stand together, to remember remember, the 5th of November.